Are you a YouTuber? Need to quickly create a large group of people so you can feel like you have fans? Then the Crowd Kit Deluxe Edition is for you. Easily create hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds. What's up, guys? It's Cody here. Some of you will recognize this crowd from my 1,000 subscribers special. And since I just hit 2,000 subscribers, I figured now was as good a time as any to do a tutorial on how to create this. So in the tutorial, we will be covering how to create the base crowd, how to add specific people randomly throughout the crowd, how to give it a bit of life with the jumping around, that sort of thing, and my personal favorite, how to do the Mexican wave. Because let's face it, that is just so cool. I just love it. Alright, let's get started. The first thing we need to do is set up our crowd. But before we even do that, we need to remove any crowd if there is one already there. There's not at the moment, but it's definitely going to come in handy later on. So, we're going to go kill all entities with a tag of crowd. This is a tag that we're going to be using exclusively for our armor stand crowd, as you may have guessed by the name of the tag. Then we're going to go summon armor stand, 1 in the X, we'll leave the Y, and -1 in the Z. So what happens if we do this? Stick a button on, and we get an armor stand there. We can afford to summon that a little closer to the ground, but not on the ground, and I'll explain that later. But if we summon it nearly on the ground, 0.45 blocks down. Oops, that was the X. This needs to be -0.45. And that's pretty much on the ground, but not quite because of a few things that I'll explain later. But we have our base armor stand, and from that armor stand, we will summon the rest of the crowd. So, what we need to do is stick another command block on here. I'm going to go... Oh, hang on, before we do that. We're summoning an armor stand here. We need to give it our crowd tag. So we're going to go tags, crowd. Alright. Now we place another command block down, and we're going to execute off this guy. Execute off all armor stands with a tag of crowd, which at the moment is just our one armor stand. And we're going to summon another armor stand in the positive X, 1 in the positive X, and we're going to give it the crowd tag. So if we activate this, we get 2 armor stands, because this one is being summoned by that command block, and then this one summons one of its own over there. So, we're just going to copy this command, and place it down again, and change this to 2. By this point, we have 2 crowd armor stands, and each of them is going to summon its own crowd armor stand 2 blocks over in the X. So, we get 4 armor stands. And I think you get the idea, so I will just place down some more of these. We'll change this one to 4. And we'll change this one to 8. So what's happening is we summon 1 armor stand. That armor stand summons another, so we get 2. Each of those summons another, so we get 4. Each of those summons another, so we get 8. And then each of those summons another, so we get 16. 16 armor stands along here. That looks about right. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And this is a really helpful tactic if you want to summon entities in large amounts. Basically, you're summoning them using binary. So, if we want this to be, rather than just a line, if we want this to be a proper crowd, we can simply repeat these commands, changing the X coordinate for the Z coordinate. So we're going to go clone this line of commands over here, and we'll change this, move it over here, activate our command. And look at that, we have ourselves a nice crowd, and they all have the crowd tag, so we can now perform some entity data on them. Alright, so we can get rid of this command block here. And now, chuck down a command block and we'll go entity data, all crowd tagged armor stands. We're going to set their data to, we need to show their arms and take away their base plate. Let's try that. So, as we can see, all of the armor stands are facing the wrong direction. So what we'll do is inside this entity data command, we will just set the rotation to 180.0f, 0.0f. In fact, we don't actually need that second term as far as I know. So we activate this, and the armor stands will land on the ground and turn around. And the reason that we summoned this one just ever so slightly off the ground is because if we summon it on the ground, as I will demonstrate, they do not update. So in order to get them to update, we need to summon them ever so slightly off the ground so they can hit the ground and then rotate around to the correct position. It's really quite a cool effect. Like your own little marching band or something. So our crowd is created, but we still have a little bit of work to do here. We need to set the armor items, because we want each armor stand in the crowd to have a Steve head. We've got the boots here, the leggings here, the chest plate here, and the head here. So we're going to go ID, Minecraft skull. The damage is 3. And the tag, inside there, skull owner. Oh wait, no, we don't need to do that. What am I doing? We just need that, and we'll get our regular Steve head without any skull owner, so just display the default texture. And there you go. Our armor stands all of a sudden look far more human. You know, as much as you can when your body's made of wood. Our crowd's pretty much ready, but we need to add some people to this crowd. We need to personalize it a little bit. So what we can do is we can go entity data, a random armor stand with a tag of crowd. And if you're wondering why I have specified the type to be armor stand when the only entities that have the crowd tag are already armor stands, is because the @r selector will target players by default unless we specify another type. So, we're going to set the data of one random armor stand, and we're going to set its custom name to, let's say, Sethbling. Set its custom name visible to 1. And we'll see what we get with that. There we go, we have a Sethbling in there, but let's make this guy look a little bit more like Sethbling. So, we need to set its armor items again. Armor items, and this time we are going to use skull owner. Boots, leggings, chest plate, head. Once again, a skull with a damage of 3. This time we are using skull owner, so tag skull owner Sethbling. And look at that, our here we go. Look at that, our Sethbling has his Sethbling head. You can repeat this process for as many different armor stands as you like, giving them as many different random players as you like. However, if we go on and add more people to our crowd, there is a very slight chance they will overwrite existing people. So to get around this problem, we are going to add an extra tag to each armor stand in our crowd. And we can do this through the entity data command that actually sort of initializes our crowd. So we're going to go tags, crowd, and crowd blank. And you might be wondering, why add the crowd tag? It's already there. Well, when I set this tags here, it's going to basically reset all of their tags, and from that point onward, they will only have the tags inside these brackets. So I need to make sure to include the crowd tag. Right, so they each have a crowd blank tag as well. We can now detect this, so instead of looking for a crowd tagged armor stand, we can look for a crowd blank tagged armor stand. And then once we've set their data, we can go on and set their tags to be only crowd, effectively removing the crowd blank armor stand. And then we can make another one of these command blocks and say, set this one to Dragnos. Now, it doesn't matter how many times we create our crowd, there is no way that we can generate Sethbling and Dragnos into the same armor stand. And once we've generated our crowd, you could, after you've added all the people, if you want to, you could go ahead and remove the crowd tag, scoreboard players tag, all entities with the crowd blank tag. We could go ahead and remove the crowd blank tag, but it is not necessary. They can keep that tag if you don't want to remove it. Our crowd's looking pretty good at this point, but let's give it some life. The first thing we're going to do is create a scoreboard. This scoreboard, scoreboard objectives add, we're going to call it jump, and it must be a stat.jump scoreboard. It absolutely must be, because we're going to use this to keep track of when a player jumps, and we're also going to use it to control our armor stands during the Mexican wave. So the first thing we want to do is we want to execute from all players who have a minimum jump score of 1. And they are going to set the score of, they're going to set the jump score of the nearest armor stand, or rather the nearest crowd tagged armor stand. So the nearest crowd member, they're going to set their jump score to 1. And then we're going to go ahead and reset the score of any players with a jump score of 1. So, scoreboard players reset all players with a minimum jump score, with a minimum jump score of 1. Now I'm wondering whether I did that in the last command. I did. Oh dear. Score jump min equals 1. And that's sorted out. From this point, we are going to execute from all entities with the crowd tag and with a minimum, or with a jump score of exactly 3. We're going to execute from them to set the scoreboard, to set the score of all armor stands in a radius of 1 to jump 1. So we're going to go scoreboard players set score. We're just going to put in score jump equals 0 in there as well, so they don't target themselves. Tag equals crowd, score jump equals 0, R equals 1. Alright, we're going to set their jump score to 1. So when an armor stand has a jump score of 3, it will set the jump scores of nearby armor stands to 1. If an armor stand has a jump score of 6, we're going to set their entity data to motion 0.0, 0.4, 0.0. Don't need a D there. And that's going to make them do a little jump. Then, all armor stands with the jump score of at least 1 are going to increment their jump score. So, scoreboard players add if they have a crowd tag, and if their jump score is at least 1, we're going to add 1 to their jump score. And if their jump score is at least 21, we're going to set it back to 0. Scoreboard players set tag equals crowd score jump min equals 21. We're going to set their jump score back to 0. And all the way back here, we just need to make sure that when we set the nearest, I've set that to all armor stands. So when the player jumps back here, they're setting the jump score of the nearest armor stand, which I forgot to add back there. But we're also going to add score jump equals 0. That way, if the armor stand is already in the jumping process, they're not going to try and jump all over again. Our line of commands here is complete, but if you notice here, we're only tagging armor stands with a jump score of 0, and none of these armor stands have a jump score of 0. So we're going to stick a command on the end of here, scoreboard players set all entities with a tag of crowd. We're going to set their jump score to 0. Make sure these commands are on, recreate our crowd, and watch this. Doesn't that just look absolutely amazing? I just love it. And this is actually a feature that was not in the original crowd I created. You can do multiple Mexican waves. Sorry, you can do one Mexican wave before the previous one has finished. Alright. So our Mexican wave is looking fantastic, but when we're not doing the Mexican wave, our crowd is awfully still. So let's add one more command on the end here. Entity data, random armor stand with a crowd tag. And we're going to set their motion to, let's try 0.0, 0.2, 0.0. And look at that. Our armor stands are jumping around. And our crowd is done. But wait, there's more. That's right, I'm starting a new section where at the end of my videos, much like Dragon, I will feature a YouTuber. And I'll feature this YouTuber for 2 videos in a row. Today's featured YouTuber is Mr. Illiteracy. Mr. Illiteracy has some really awesome concepts like Pong, throwable bombs, how to be Superman, and he has a really nice editing style as well. So definitely go and check out his channel, show him some support, because not only is he a really awesome YouTuber, but he is just generally a great guy. But that's all for today. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more tutorials and command creations. And I'll see you guys later.